Mochi, sit.
Oh, Mochi.
Because he's like, I'm ready to play.
Right, he wants to play, yeah. He wants to play. This guy's old. My old Ramses man. Come on, Ramses.
Mochi,
Gotcha.
sit. Try and get this fit. So the most important thing with a prong collar is, there you go, there we go. There you go. There you go. The most important thing, so the big key is getting it fit properly. So as you can see, Mochi doing his Mochi thing. All his jumping, all his craziness. So all of this, goofy on. Hey guys, Victoria Smith here with Take the Lead Canine Training, and this is episode number 8 of Foster Dog Friday. Thanks for tuning in. If you're new to the series, make sure to check back at our previous episodes where we're talking about things rescue dog adoption, foster dogs, dog behavior, dog training, and introducing a new dog to your home. The idea with this program is to help people with their dogs that they have at home, but also to help people who are in rescue, in shelters, and who foster dogs get information that's going to help them create dogs who become more adoptable, and also help potential owners, potential new adopters, have information that's going to keep things successful so that these dogs can be integrated into their home with no problems and they can stay in those homes. So the idea here is that if we can get dogs trained, because the number one reason dogs are turned into shelters or are returned back after adoption are behavioral issues. So the idea here is if we can get them trained, get them well behaved, we can keep them in their homes. Today's episode is about pushing your puppy. What does that mean? We're talking about when people get young dogs, so we're talking about puppies that are under 4 months of age. We're talking about itty bitty, like bumbly baby kind of puppies, not 8-month-old, 10-month-old puppies. We're talking about younger guys. Pushing your puppy is an idea that takes one step further all of the enrichment, positive association, and socialization that your dog needs to do as a young growing puppy, but adds one other element, which is pushing your puppy. The idea here is to look for things that might cause your puppy to want to object or not be interested in doing it, and work them through it so that they can get over a hurdle, a mental block, something that they don't like to do, that they can get over that hurdle and move on, and you can create positive association in that way. Now, the reason I'm talking about this is because a lot of times as we're raising puppies, we're told that they need to have tons of positive experiences, not have bad experiences. You give them a bad experience, you're going to mess them up. No, I'm not talking about bullying your dog by any means, but what I am talking about is seeing what it is that your particular dog may or may not like to do. Your little puppy may not like his toenails handled or his ears handled or your fingers in the mouth, or he might not like walking over manhole covers. Whatever it may be, we need to look for our dog, look for this puppy's objection points, and work them through it. The reason being is if we don't challenge our dog to do things that they may not want to do, they may not be comfortable with, if we don't challenge them to overcome those obstacles, we're going to see it appear in a vengeance in a lot of dogs as they start to turn into adolescence, as they reach their teenager moments, we start to see dogs who have learned that everything that they do is what they want to do, and they've never really been asked in a way that matters by a human to do something that they may not want to do, and so they object. And what does an objection look like? Well, in an adolescent dog, it's usually biting the leash, it's jumping up, it's barking at you, it's complaining, it's using their mouth to object with things, and as they continue to mature, it can go from being mouthy to actually being growling and biting. So if we don't challenge our young bubbly puppies and show them, like, I'm the human, I know what's going on here, I'm going to guide you through this, we're going to overcome this, even though it may not be something you like to do. If we don't take those moments when they're young and full of influence to do that, we're going to have a teenager who's giving us a lot of grief and potentially a dangerous dog because they've never been asked to do something that they don't want to do. The reason I'm talking about teenagers and adolescents is because these dogs are generally in that window of 8 months to like a year and a half when they reach adolescence. And you'll hear me talk a lot about adolescent dogs in a lot of these videos. The reason being, truly, is because that's the majority of the dogs that I train are in that age window. And the majority of dogs in shelters in that age window. And that's no coincidence. That's because you're getting a developing dog, a dog who's been empowered to do some unbetowed things as a young dog. Nope, down. Yes. Good boy. They've been empowered to do things that were unbetowed, and now you're getting some grief. So let's look at it this way. Maybe this can help relate a little bit for you. I want you to think about children, and we're thinking about a puppy, okay? So if we have kids who maybe we don't ask to do chores, they just they do other things. We do daycare, and this is parallel. We're talking parallel dog, parallel children. Kids don't have chores. We don't ask the dog to do much that it doesn't want to do. So kids have daycare, they're in t-ball. As they get into high school, they're in cheerleading, they're in football, they're in soccer, they're hanging out with their friends at the mall. They're very busy. Okay, so we've got a young child that wasn't really asked to do much, didn't have to do much household chores or have much responsibility, but they did do a lot of extracurriculars and a lot of things that they like to do. We have a young dog. We socialize it, we train it all the time. We take it to daycare, we take it to dog parks, we go hiking with them, we take them to restaurants, we do a lot of stuff with our dog. It's not like we have a dog at home that's not doing anything. We've got a whole lot of things that this dog likes to do. Play chuck it, he likes to swim, he likes to play frisbee, he likes to go to the dog parks, agility. He does a lot of fun stuff, okay? And now we have a teenager. Teenager human, teenager dog. I want you to think about this teenager and remember your teenage years, okay? When your parents asked you to do something that maybe you didn't want to do, or denied you something, they grounded you, they said, yeah, you can't do that. You had consequences issued that maybe you'd never had before. If you've got a student, or a teenager, high schooler, who's involved in all these extracurriculars and they've got a real big social life, and they're busy and doing a lot of things that they like to do, and then all of a sudden you say like, oh yeah, on Friday nights, I need you to stay home and watch your little brother. Or on Friday nights, I need you to go get a job. Or on Friday nights, I need you to do something else, paint the house, power wash, whatever. All of a sudden you're issuing something that they need to do that they didn't choose to do. And then you get a really unhappy teenager that had plans and has things that they like to do. So you get all the door slamming and the yelling and the I hate you and I'm running away and all of the nonsense that comes along with a teenager, an adolescent, objecting to having boundaries set and being told they need to do something. Particularly worse when they were never really asked to do much or hold responsibility as a child. So now we're getting to dogs. And we're talking about they're doing all this fun stuff and everything is just a party and everything is super fun for a dog all the time. And they want to see another dog, so they pull on the leash to get there, and they want to go to daycare and they do all this. Then all of a sudden we start actually setting boundaries. We start saying like, you're not allowed to pull on the leash anymore. You're not allowed to jump on me anymore. You're not allowed to cry from the cage anymore. All of a sudden we're trying to interrupt this stuff. And then lo and behold, we get a lot of grief from a dog who's never been asked to do anything they didn't want to do before. And again, that can take place in biting the leash, jumping up on you, barking at you, like for attention, rah, 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 complaining. It can be a bunch of noisy whining. It can be hissy fit from inside the cage. And as we said before, it can turn into growling and biting because you're getting a dog who's saying, I don't approve of what you're saying. And usually it's a relationship issue that has developed because the dog has never actually been asked to do anything that they didn't necessarily want to do before. So we have an opportunity when we have growing puppies, when we've got really little guys, we're talking like under 4 months old, we're talking that imprinting, you know, we're trying to empower the dog, we're trying to have positive association, we're creating a lot of enrichment for them, they're socializing, exposing them. Do all of that, but also see what your dog may or may not be that comfortable with and really hone in and work on that stuff. And ask your dog to do things that maybe it doesn't like to do so much. You know, maybe your dog doesn't like to go in the crate. Tough cookies, you're going in. Maybe your dog doesn't like to ride in the car. Tough cookies, this is how you get to the vet's office. You know, maybe your dog doesn't want to walk past this particular part of the street. I'm sorry, that's how we get there. Show them that you're going to guide them through it fairly, right? Don't be a bully. Do it fairly, and you can create positive association on the way. You can use food and treats, but don't give up and don't say, oh my gosh, my dog doesn't like going in his crate, so I'm just going to stop. Because I promise you, if you stop there and you don't ask your dog to do it and get over it as a young puppy, when you start asking them to do things in the future, and the reason you're going to ask them to start doing things in the future, particularly around their adolescent 8-month-old to year-and-a-half window, is because they're big. They're big dogs now. They're not little four-month-old puppies that we can carry around. Now all of a sudden you've got a 65-pound dog that's still pulling on the leash, and you're like, I gotta stop this. You're gonna knock me over. I gotta stop this. You're gonna knock my kids over jumping. All of a sudden we are gonna say, like, this has got to stop, and then we're gonna get a lot of grief from our dogs if we haven't ever asked them before to do something that they didn't want to do and follow through with it. So guys, it's all about setting boundaries. Train your dogs, have fun with your dogs, do a lot of cool extracurriculars with them, but make sure that you're setting them up to understand that not everything is on the agenda of what they want to do, and sometimes you've got to sit still for 20 minutes. You can't jump on people. You can't pull on the leash. You can't charge other dogs. You can't bite the leash. You can't dig up my flower garden. We sometimes have to be able to set those boundaries for these guys, because again, when they're little, it's really easy. Don't forget, we're raising dogs, not puppies. So when you have a puppy, you're not raising a puppy. You're raising a dog. Always remember, they're going to get bigger. Their teeth are going to get bigger. We're living with predators in our home. Lovely, adorable predators, but predators nonetheless. So they're not for babies, they're not for kids. We're not supposed to spoil them silly. We're supposed to raise them to be excellent members of society. And if we can start them early and raise them well, we can have amazing dogs. If we don't get the opportunity to work with our puppy early, that's okay, but definitely reach out for help if you're struggling, because if a dog's never been asked to do much before, there's a good chance you're going to get a lot of grief, a lot of objections, and you may or may not be dealing with some behaviors that seem a little concerning or dangerous. So dog trainers are there to help, behaviorists are there to help. Reach out for some help, look for a balanced trainer. If you've gotten an opinion, you need another one because it wasn't maybe something you wanted to hear, or you think that, you know, what I'm talking about, again, a lot of dogs getting put down too are in that adolescent age because of the obnoxiousness and because of now they're growling and biting. Like, it seems crazy, why would puppies growl and bite? But a lot of dogs start their biting and their growling and their controlling maneuvers in that adolescent window. They start to learn how to manipulate people because they've never been asked to do something before and they don't approve of the new rules. So guys, have fun with your dogs, but train them and work with them. Work with the little guys, challenge them, and if you need help, reach out to a trainer. They're there to help you. They're there to help your dogs. It's not the end of the road, but if we want to keep dogs out of shelters, particularly these teenager guys, we've got to start setting boundaries for them early. We've got to follow through with them, and we've got to show them they don't run the roost. All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you next week.